Hello everyone, today I'm going to teach you how to braid around a core. So it's pretty simple. You want your core to be pretty flat and small. But when I start out my braids, a lot of time I just start them out with this little granny knot, and then I'll give myself a lot of extra down here so that I can come back and I can refinish with the Turk's head knot. But this way, you don't get that Turk's head knot pulled down so dang tight that if you have a mistake, you can't get it untied. Or you have to spend, lots of time trying to get it untied. Time is money, as they say. But so what you're going to do is just take your little, whatever you're doing. I'm using surgical tubing right now, but just get it and just push it down in there in that knot. Shoot. Really ought to be using it all for this, but scissors work just as good. That just takes something and push it through the center of that knot so that you can get your core down in there. Like you can see, mine's already starting to come out the other side here. But you really want to get your core inside of your knot. That's what's going to help hold it when you're braiding around it. But so I'm just going to do a little 4-strand round around this core right here. And if you don't know how to do a 4-strand round, well, here you go. You start, you got 2 strands on each side. So you take, I'm right-handed, so I start with my right side. You just take it and you split the other side and come back around the back. And it's just the same thing. Take your left side top strand, split the 2 on the right, come back underneath. Now, the amount of strands that I have is not equal to the diameter of core that I have, so I'm going to have gaps, whether I want or not. There's going to be a whole bunch of gaps in this. You're going to be able to see my tubing. It's going to look awful, but for teaching purposes, this is a very good way to do it, I believe. So we'll just go ahead and we'll go ahead and braid this whole thing out. I've only got about 7-8 inches of this tubing right here. Oh boy, all dang near fell. Alright, so we'll just continue to braid this around. And something that people don't talk about in the braiding industry very much is that braiding low. Like for me, when I first started out, I figured, well, if I braid high, if I've got my strands up above my head, it's going to be easier to pull down on them. Well, that's just not the facts. Unless you're some big old tall feller and, that's more comfortable for you to have your arms up in the air. But for me, I like to keep everything, generally at hip level or just a little bit higher so that you stay stood up straight. You're not getting a big old dang crick in your neck and feeling just plumb awful sore at the end of the day because you've been bent over all day long. But I don't know. So I got about a quarter or half of this braided. Say you want to do something fancy, like a knot in the center of it. You want it to look real pretty. This is how you tie a knot around a core. So get your 4 strands going your separate ways, just like you would a regular Turk's head knot. And these Turk's heads are about the only thing that I tie, so it's just the same way. You just go around with your knots, or with your strands, and you're gonna go right back through your loop like you normally would. And when I braid something like this, I'll usually do like a little chip clip down here or an alligator clip like your hairstylist uses, just to keep that braid tight. But for right now, I just hold it with my hand. And just like, you usually would, just come around and come up through the center. And you see I did let go of it there, but I'm still pinching it with my first finger and my thumb. And you can kind of cheat on these and come in, like the other video that I did, I came in from, all the way over here so that you can really see. But you can cheat, just come right up through the back. Makes it a lot quicker. So we'll come right up through this cross after we've gone over the top of this strand. And if you got these frayed ends like this, something that works pretty good is to double your string over and push it through. It's a lot easier to find that way. And we'll keep coming right on around. We found this one. Here's our cross right here. come up through the center. Now, tightening a knot around a core is kind of a different story. You really, like, you should tighten this kind of slowly. I'm pulling this one strand at a time. It'll keep your knot looking a lot nicer. The other video, I just pulled all 4 of them at the same time, equal pressure, and it came out, but these cores can really screw you up if you aren't careful. So then I usually like to start by pulling all this bottom slack out to get my strands tight. I found that if I don't start like that, then my knot ends up losing its shape, and then I have to end up just going back and completely retying my knot. And something that you kind of won't notice when you first start braiding is that you can tighten these strands farther down here just by tightening your knot. I mean, if you're some big old Dave Appleton type of a guy that can just cut them off with the swells, you can sure enough pull them from down here pretty good and get your knot tight. But so there you can see, I just went ahead and tied a little Turk's head around that core. And even if you do something like that, you can come right back over here and start braiding again and finish out your braid. You may want to throw a little Turk's head in there just for a little pizzazz, give them the old razzle dazzle, you know what I mean? But then you just continue your braid right on. I guess this is more so like a damn podcast or live or whatever rather than just a little tutorial video. But I rode bucking horses and roped and kind of did all of it, and I found that watching videos of shit, that really helps. If you can sit there and watch something and see how it's done proficiently, then you'll be able to go and apply that to yourself. Especially if you're just starting out or something. Yeah, I just can't quite visualize that. Well, here you go. Watch a video of somebody that can do it fast enough to where it doesn't take you all day to do something like this. So as you can see, we braid around our core. We got a little Turk's head right there in the center. We'll come down here and shoot, screwed up myself. You want to braid over your tip of your core, because if you don't, then it'll pop back out, and you almost want to throw your braids up over the top of it and back so that you can really cover it up. But now we'll tie a little finishing knot here, a finishing Turk's head. I'm an awful cameraman. Hope y'all can forgive me. And a lot of this is just freaking delicacy. You can't be some butcher-handed son of a bitch trying to do this. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of times where It is nice being able to really pull hard on something, but if you can just come through and just sneak all these strands right in here without losing one in the middle, it's really nice. Especially when you're kind of trying to keep order of things down a little bit farther down your line. And planning is a very, very large part of this. Planning out how long your strands are going to be, how you're going to finish something off, you know. But don't get me wrong, I am not the best at this by any means. I actually really suck. But at least I can show y'all kind of some little stuff on how to get some of this done. You know what I mean? It's better than nothing, I reckon. But a lot of this stuff you can really kind of mash around and be not so delicate with. I know how I was just preaching delicacy at you, but at the same time, it's kind of a take and give. So you can see my cores kind of popped out here. So you can take this, kind of unbraid your strands a little bit, pull them apart, and just split, like, I'll just split those two strands right there. And I'll get this back underneath to where you cannot see it. Because I have found out that people do not like seeing that kind of stuff. They think it's pretty ugly. But just as long as it's in the center of your braid, you'll be safe. Because it's, you know, they're not going to see it. Especially if you take, you know, you take yourself like a little bit of like electrician's tape and tape around your core so that it's black. Don't do any other color. Don't do white or pink or purple or whatever, you know. I mean, unless that's your client's favorite color, but generally speaking, you know, you want black. Because clear is too shiny. It looks like a damn metallic car. But there you go. So there's that. Now for finishing you off your ends, I have discovered that lighters are the biggest pieces of shit in the world for braiding paracord. It's always going to look god awful. Now I'm fixing to show y'all once it warms up what I use to finish off my strands. So take your scissors here and cut your ends off. And then you go take your little hiney to Home Depot and you get you a little Weller battery-powered soldering iron. These are the best dang things since sliced bread. So, like with mine, it's got these two little lights here, and there ain't even no point to put it on the first setting. Just set that sumbitch up to the second, get her hot. But I set mine on the second setting. Wait for at least my bottom light to light up. Then I just take my strands, and these are really hard to burn without a lighter. Like, to burn it with this frickin' soldering iron it kind of takes a couple times to get used to it. But I try and kind of build it up into a square, or at least I'll flatten one side and then flatten my other side with it and melt it. And this way you won't have any black. You know, that's my biggest deal with burning with lighters, is you always got a bunch of black when you get done, or a bunch of gunk. Well, with this, you just kind of melt it into a bit of a square point type of a shape here. Then set your soldering iron down and you grab your scissors again. And the little white tip on the end there, you're just going to whack that off. Then you can take your soldering iron again and just melt that right over. And that is about as good of an end burn as a felder's gonna get without one of those things that they got at the store that they just whack her right off with, a heated blade or whatever the hell it is. But there you go. That's how you braid around a core. That's how you tie a Turk's head knot around a core. And that is the proper way to burn an end. So thank y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope that wasn't too damn obnoxious, and have a great day. Thank you.